Welcome back to our daily Hilchos Pesach webcast. For segment number 6, we will discuss today the positive commandments of the Seder, of Pesach. Till now we basically discussed all the chametz, getting rid of chametz, searching for chametz, burning chametz, koshering the kitchen, and everything related to that. Now we will move on to the positive parts and positive commandments of Pesach. So, the mitzvah is as follows. On the night of Pesach, when we make the Seder, Seder means order. And the rabbis made for us a order. They made a Seder for us of all the mitzvahs that have to be done that night. Basically, they are to eat an ounce of matzah minimum, to eat an ounce of maror, of bitter herbs, to drink 4 cups of wine, each cup being 3.5 ounces, and then to tell the story of the Exodus to your children. So, these are many mitzvahs and many details. So the rabbis, instead of leaving it up to every individual to do it as they saw fit, they organized it in the form of a Seder, which means order. They made an order for us and how to fulfill these mitzvahs properly. So if you go through the Seder, you will have done all the mitzvahs properly. Now, let's go step by step. First of all, there's a biblical mitzvah that on the night of Pesach, to eat matzah. And this mitzvah, the Torah says specifically that it should be eaten at night. The word is laila. The Torah is very clear. It has to be done at night. And therefore, we are not allowed to eat the matzah. If you want to fulfill your obligation of eating matzah on the night of the Seder, you have to make sure to eat it after nightfall. I know it's a little late these days because of daylight savings time, but we need to make sure that these 2 nights we do not do this wrong. And the right way to do it is to eat the matzah after nightfall. Now, to be sure, the only biblical commandment we have today is in temple times. There were many biblical mitzvahs for the night of Pesach. You had to eat the paschal meat, the paschal offerings meat. You had to eat the maror together with the Pesach offering. You had the mitzvah of eating the matzah. You had the mitzvah of relating the story, telling the story to your children. Today, the mitzvah of eating the paschal offering is, of course, no longer applicable. We don't have the temple. The mitzvah of eating the maror is not biblical anymore because the maror, the bitter herbs, are attached to the Pesach offering, and with the lack of the Pesach offering, we don't have the obligation biblically to eat the maror either. So all this today is rabbinically instituted. The only 2 mitzvahs that are rabbinic, that are biblical on the night of Pesach is eating the matzah. That's still a biblical mitzvah, and telling the story. All the rest is either rabbinic law or custom. But the rabbis always instituted their laws and customs to reflect the biblical law. And being that the biblical law is to eat the matzah after nightfall, so they instituted that the 4 cups that are rabbinic, and the maror that is rabbinic today, and everything else we do tonight should be done also after nightfall. Therefore, we cannot start the Seder halachically before nightfall. Because, think about it, the first thing we do in the Seder is we make Kiddush. And the Kiddush cup is the first of the 4 cups. The 4 cups, we said, have to be drunk after nightfall. So therefore Kiddush can't be made before nightfall. This is in distinction, this is different than all year round. Every other Friday night or Yom Tov night, holiday, you can make Kiddush before nightfall. You can accept Shabbos or Yom Tov early. There's no problem. And make Kiddush early. I know many communities that in the summer, they daven early. We do it here too. And sometimes they're going home from shul and the sun is still shining. They accept Shabbos way before Shabbos begins, and for them it's Shabbos even though the sun is still shining, and they make Kiddush while the sun is still shining. That's fine for every other Shabbos and Yom Tov of the year. On Pesach you can't do that for the reasons mentioned. Let's start with the 4 cups. The 4 cups, as I mentioned, have to be drunk according to the order of the Seder. The first one is when we make Kiddush. The second cup is the one we drink, we fill it up right before we start telling the story, and we drink it right after we finish telling the story. The third cup we do the grace after meals, and the 4th cup we do the Hallel, the end of the Seder. The 4 cups should, as I mentioned, should be 3.5 ounces each. Preferably, if you can finish the whole cup, drink it all the way down, and the wine should be red. You should use red wine for the Seder, not white wine. The matzah is as follows. You have to eat a minimum of 1 ounce in order to fulfill the mitzvah, but we do more than that. We have the sandwich, in which we eat another ounce, and we also have the afikomen, which is to remember the Paschal offering, which is in lieu of the Paschal offering. So at the end of the Seder, so that too we eat a ounce of matzah there minimum. So it's a total of 3 ounces minimum, but that's the extra 2 ounces are rabbinic. The first ounce is absolute obligation from the biblical point of view, and therefore you should make sure to eat at least 1 ounce, preferably at least 3 ounces. You can do more if you want. Now, which matzah do we use? The Torah tells us there's a biblical commandment that when it comes to the matzahs, you have to guard the matzahs. The Torah is very clear about it. It says, Ushmartem es hamatzos, you should guard the matzahs, which means shmura matzah. Now, not to confuse everyone, because we all know there's different types of matzahs, so let me simplify this. There is a dispute amongst our sages, what constitutes guarding the matzah, what makes shmura matzah. Some opinions are that you have to guard the wheat from the moment it is grinded. From that point on, it has to be guarded against contact with water so that it doesn't become chametz. Other opinions are that you have to guard the matzah from the time of harvesting. The halacha is that it does not have to be guarded from then, that guarding from the time of grinding is enough. However, in order to fulfill the mitzvah properly and with the best possible way, so when you're going to eat the matzah for the mitzvah, meaning the nights of the Seder, that ounce that you're going to eat, or at least all the matzah you're going to eat during the Seder, which is the matzah's mitzvah, meaning the matzah that we eat to fulfill the biblical commandment, because the matzah that we eat the rest of the 8 days, it's voluntary, you don't have to. You're not allowed to eat chametz, but you don't have to eat matzah. But on those 2 nights you have to eat matzah. So when you're eating the matzah to fulfill the mitzvah, it is recommended that you use the shmura matzah, that today we call shmura matzah, meaning it's guarded from the time of the harvest. Those are usually usually when you buy the boxes in the store, you look to see if it is shmura, if it's called shmura matzah from the time of the harvest. There's another interesting point about matzah, and that is that you have the handmade matzah. Till about 100 and some odd years ago, Jews throughout generations made matzah by hand with meticulousness. They were very careful that the flour and nothing should be no chametz come in contact with it, and that it should be rolled out and kneaded and rolled out and put into the oven as soon as possible. About 100 and some odd years ago, they developed a machine that makes matzah, and a great controversy ensued. Some saying that the machine matzah is no good because it's difficult to really take great care that there's no dough gets into the grooves of the machine, and after 18 minutes that becomes chametz, and therefore they said only hand matzah. Other opinions said no, that's no problem. So although the accepted opinion is that you can use machine matzah, but again, for the Seder, when we are eating the matzah with which we are fulfilling the mitzvah, it is best to use the handmade shmura matzah, which you can get at any Jewish store. Any Chabad rabbi will provide it for you, and we have it here at the shul as well. And it's highly recommended that for the 2 Seders you use the handmade round shmura matzah. The rest of Pesach, if you want to eat the other machine-made matzah, the square, that's up to you, and it's certainly halachically allowed, although it's, of course, we have the custom to eat only handmade shmura matzah, but that's up to you. But I recommend that at least for the Seders, you should use the shmura matzah that is guarded from the harvest, and the handmade matzah, which usually is bought. Costs a little more money, but you can get it at the shul. You need at least 3 matzahs per Seder, to try to get at least a pound for that. Thank you very much, and we will continue next time.